People who have never taken a course in economics might sum up the subject in 2 words. Supply and demand. Well, while those 2 words definitely say a lot about the subject, they do not say everything. However, since we're on the subject, let's talk about supply and demand, starting with demand. What you have here is called a demand curve. And let's say we are talking about, let's say that this demand curve represents Snickers bars. Snicker bars. And please note at times we might have to substitute the demand curve to represent something else. But right now, let's say it represents Snicker bars. So this is a demand curve for Snicker bars. Quantity demanded would be each point on the curve, because that's telling you at what price how many people are willing to buy the item. So you see, for 50 cents, if Snicker bars are on sale, for 50 cents, you'll have 25 million people in the year willing to buy it. While if they're $2.50, you'll only have 5 million people willing to buy the Snickers bar. So just to review, each dot is what we call the quantity demanded. The entire thing is called demand. The entire curve is what we call demand, hence we call it a demand curve. And for those who might actually be in a macroeconomics course and need to know particular information about the demand curve as far as which way its slope goes, it is a downwards slope. The demand curve has a downward slope because it starts from here and goes down. Simple answer. Anyway, what could cause this demand curve, this is the demand curve, what could cause it to move? What could cause it to go either leftwards or rightwards? And just to show what happens when the demand curve moves, let's say put it on the $1.50. Snickers was selling at $1.50. Originally, it was selling to 15 million people in America who were willing to buy the Snicker bars in a year at $1.50. Something happened to cause the demand curve, and we're going to discuss very shortly what happens. Something happened to cause the demand curve to move. Now, what you have is the new point C, we'll call this C2. The new point C2 at $1.50, only, let's say, 6.5 million, 7 million people are willing to buy that Snickers bar. Well, before, you had 15 million willing to buy it at $1.50. Now you only have around, around 10 million. Sorry, 10 million. I said the number wrong. And if it would move rightwards, so then at $1.50, you have, instead of 15 million people willing to buy it, 20 million people are willing to buy it. The point being is, when the demand curve moves leftwards, less people are willing to buy it at a certain price. And when it moves rightwards, more people are willing to buy it at a certain price. What caused the demand curve to move though? Could be a number of things, and I've listed them over here. If the price of relative goods would switch, every item usually has a substitute. Otherwise, you're talking about a monopoly, which our government tends to not favor. So let's say we're talking about the Snicker bar, and all of a sudden Milky Way, which is for all intents and purposes the substitute for a Snickers bar, while Snickers was at $1.50, Milky Way moved the price of its bar, and I'm not drawing another demand curve, but Milky Way puts a sale on its bar for $1. Now more people are going to buy the Milky Way, less people are going to buy the Snickers bar. That's going to cause the demand curve to maybe move over here, leftwards. And vice versa, if Milky Way would up its price so that to $2 while Snickers is going at $1.50, the demand curve, less people are going to buy Milky Way, and they're going to fill into this slot, moving the demand curve rightwards. Expected future prices. And now if we would just take Snickers out and say gas, because that's much easier for us to relate to. Let's say gas is at $1.50, and people hear that gas is going to go up to $2, $2.50. So what people are going to do is they're going to fill that car up as soon as possible while it's still at $1.50. Hence, at $1.50, while you only had, let's say, 10 million people willing to buy it, Now you're going to have 15, 20 million because they want to get that cheaper price. Income. People buy what they can afford. If they have an increase in income, they'll buy more. Hence, while they might have said before, I can't afford the Snicker bar, now they can since they got a $500 bonus or a $50 raise per hour, whatever you want to say, they increased their income. Now they're going to jump. Expected future income works the same way, with the twist. If people even think that they're going to have more money, they know they don't have the $500 bonus now, but they're going to get it next week. They still might chip out for that Snicker bars now because they know the money's in the bank. Population, a great example would be parking in New York and parking in Lakewood, New Jersey. People in New York are willing to pay much more for a parking spot than in Lakewood, New Jersey, because in Lakewood, New Jersey, you can usually find an empty spot for free. Preferences is also the Milky Way and the Snickers bar, but if you like the Snickers bar, even if it's at $2 and the Milky Way is at $1.50, you're going to go with the Snickers bar because you just like it. And so I'm not advertising for Snickers, vice versa, if you prefer the Milky Way bar. This covers, almost we're done, actually. One more thing. What happens, we talked about the demand curve moving leftwards and rightwards. And that was from these unexpected changes. What happens to cause the demand curve to actually just move along its own line, its own slope? Well, that's when you have a change in price without any of these changing. These were all remaining the same at $1.50. And for whatever reason, Snickers moves the price up to $2. That is what's going to cause this to go like that and move along the slope. So, when these 6 factors start moving around, the demand curve moves either leftwards or rightwards, depending on what's happening with them. If there's a change in price without any of the other factors being adjusted or moving around, so that is what causes the quantity demanded to change. And that will conclude our lesson in demand. Next, we'll talk about supply.